If the relationship does not serve you, if it does not increase your peace, let that man go. I'll even make this more general. Let the relationship go. It don't have to be a man, although it usually is a man. It can be a friendship. It could be a relationship with a job. If this thing is not serving you, let it go. Let's just read this real quick. Thinking about the fact that I literally allowed a man to stress me out for years to the point that I later developed an autoimmune condition that's triggered by stress, and now I am losing all my melanin. In this comment section, she talks about how vitiligo, yes, is an autoimmune disease, and most autoimmune diseases are triggered by stress. This is just a quick clip from a Stanford medicine study. We're just going to look at that first part up here. Somewhere between 24 and 20 and 50 million Americans have an autoimmune disease, a condition in which the immune system attacks our own tissue. As many of 4 out of 5 of those people are women. 4 out of 5. That's like 80%. Now, there's a bunch of theories about why this could be, and oh, it could be the X chromosomes. It's stress. It's stress. It's stress. Is stress a factor in the development of autoimmunity? Stress may both trigger and exacerbate autoimmune disease. Up to 80% of patients have reported uncommon emotional stress before the onset of the disease. Doesn't that number sound familiar? Now, I'm not saying that this 80% and the 80% of people with autoimmune diseases that are women is not a Venn diagram, but it is a circle. I'm not saying that because I'm not looking at the exact, but I'm saying that it only makes sense. Anyway, let us continue. Researchers describe a sort of feedback loop. Stress not only causes disease, but disease causes significant stress in patients. It is a terrible and terrifying feedback loop that does not end because as it says, the autoimmune disease causes stress, but then you need to reduce your stress so that way you don't get an autoimmune disease. What are some things that we can do to reduce our stress on a day-to-day basis? Ladies? Do you really think that being on Tinder and on Hinge, trying to swipe through all the men that are holding some form of dead animal, asking about 50-50, talking about how interesting they are because they like pineapple on pizza? Do you think that that's really helping to reduce the stress that you feel on a day-to-day basis? Now imagine being so stressed about a man that he literally, the presence of him in your mind strips the black out of you. This was a thing that our parents joked about. Oh, I'll beat the black out of you, or I'll whatever is. They never could, but a man can. And this is not just me speaking about this particular woman or the other 80% of women who have autoimmune diseases. And no, that's not, this is personal for me. I have an autoimmune disease that, yes, was also caused by men. For those of you who don't know or don't remember or you're new to this page, oh my God, also, hi, my name is Shayna. I'm a journalist. I talk a lot about decentering men, child-free living on this page. So if any of that sounds like a vibe, please like, share, and subscribe. I also talk a lot. I travel a lot because of my journalism and also because I want to. And I'm in the process of moving to Thailand. So if you're curious about any of my travel adventures or thoughts on where to go, where not to go, stuff like that, and the process of moving to Thailand or the other countries that I've moved to, head over to my Patreon. I also teach a course about how you can become a freelance writer so that way you could get paid for your thoughts, as you should. All of that information will be in the description. But anyway, I have an autoimmune disease that people know I like to say it's the more popular sister of my autoimmune disease, but nobody actually, and very few people know what I have. I have something called neuromyelitis optica, and the big sister of it is multiple sclerosis, or MS, also known as MS. Now, I'm not going to say everything that happened because there's way too many trigger warnings for that. If you want to know the full backstory about what caused this onset, I'll include the link to the video somewhere on here so you could get the full story. But the long story short is many men tried very hard to hurt me. in a very short period of time, and some of them did. And I was so overwhelmed with trauma and stress that I didn't even have the words to explain what was happening, and the after effects, the PTSD that lingered and just ate at my mind for close to a year after that happened. My school was not helpful. Some of my teachers gaslit me. It was wild. And by the time that, because all of this happened while I was in school, and then by the time that I left school, graduated, I was paralyzed. Within 3 months? No. Within the same year that, I can't remember the exact details right now, but within the same year that I graduated, I was also completely paralyzed from the chest down. Why? Because my spine started to eat itself because of this autoimmune disease that I was basically locked somewhere in my DNA, but the amount of stress that my body went through seemed to have just unlocked it and unleashed it upon my body. So if I'm going to be even more specifically, like technically my spine wasn't eating at itself, but like my B2 cell. So all of your nerves are covered in something called myelin. And it's just like a protective barrier so that way things can't just like slap your nerves, because owsies, right? So what happens with MS and multiple sclerosis and other demyelinating autoimmune diseases is that when your body, whether it's like a stress trigger, generally it's a stress trigger or whatever, or general onset, your body produces B cells at a greater rate that are supposed to, attack foreign entities. But your body is so stressed that it thinks that your body is the foreign entity. More specifically, the myelin that is protecting your nerves. Oop, 1 second. We lost her for a second, but she's back. So the myelin that was protecting the nerves in my back were getting attacked, and I didn't know what was happening. I just knew that I was losing feeling in my hip, and then in my leg, and then in my other leg, and then in my stomach, and then I couldn't move. And I was like, oh no, this is crazy. And basically the demyelination of my spinal cord was happening to the point where my T1 through T5, when they put me in I can't remember if it was an MRI or a CAT scan, I was in so many machines that day. It lit up like a Christmas tree. I can't even say like a Christmas tree. My back looked like a Christmas log. You know what did that? Stress. More specifically, stress from the problems that men caused me. There are a lot of survivors out there. In fact, it would not surprise me if there were a lot of survivors, even in this community, that have autoimmune related issues that tend to stem up when they are triggered, or just in very stressful situations. But it really started around the time when the incident that you survived happened. Yes, okay, that's like a more extreme situation, right? At the end of the day, men caused you harm and your body reacted. For people that are in, not necessarily this situation, because you might not have vitiligo yet, you really don't know what's locked in your DNA until something unlocks it, like stress. And if I have to say it like this, then I'm gonna say it like this. If you would like to remain black and beautiful, I know it's a joke. She's still gonna be black even after her melanin is gone. But the joke still, it's not a joke. This is serious. If you would like to keep your melanin, and your hair, because you can lose your hair because of stress. You can lose a whole lot because of stress, and don't let it be because of the stress of a man. Look at this face. She said, if I just let him go when I needed to let him go, I could still keep my melanin. But alas, let this be a lesson to all of us. Leave your thoughts in the comment section, and I mean it when I say it. Stay safe out there and make good decisions.